to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzie, and we have a great show for you today. First topic we'll be talking about is going over Blake Snell and his really rough start to the season for the Giants, and just going over what's behind it. After that, we'll be going over Juan Soto, and his amazing season for the Yankees, and just my overall thoughts. After that, we'll be going over Spencer Torkelson being sent down by the Tigers, some Blue Jays trade rumors involving Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, and then going over some roster moves around the league that I thought were notable. Now, before we do all that, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get into our show today. All right, so we're going to get straight into it, and the first topic we have is going to be about, of course, Blake Snell and his start for the San Francisco Giants, and just overall what's going wrong. So Blake Snell this offseason kind of shocked a lot of people for staying out in the market as long as he did. The reigning Cy Young Award winner, he had won his second Cy Young as well. People were expecting him to get a mega contract pretty early into the offseason and not signing the contract that he ended up doing. Well, unfortunately for him, he lingered on the market throughout the entire offseason, even with having super agent Scott Boras, and ended up signing a short-term deal with the San Francisco Giants. Now, this is not the outcome anyone was hoping for, I'd say probably except the Giants, who got pretty lucky with this deal, being able to sign the defending Cy Young winner to a relatively reasonable price, and short-term as well, which is definitely important. So that was a lot of shockers there, and then going into the season as well, Snell has just completely been a disaster, really, for the Giants. I don't really think there's any other way to put it. That's honestly nice. So looking at his stats currently for the Giants, he has made 6 starts for them. He has an ERA of 9.51. Yes, 9.51. That's real. And it's looked that bad. His walk per 9 right now is 5.32, so he's walking basically 5 people per 9 innings, which is not good. His home runs per 9 is 1.52, so he's allowing at least a home run per game. Walk percentage is very high at almost 12%. Just 50, left on base percentage is barely more than 50, which is not good. So basically every time he's letting someone on base, 50% of the time they're going to score, which is not great. So overall, the season is not looking up for him. And after that as well, the peripheral numbers aren't looking that great either. A FIP of 4.62, which isn't as bad as an ERA of almost 10, of course, but still, it's still not good. I mean, you don't want an ERA almost at 5. You shouldn't want that. After that, you have his Sierra, 4.02. Again, not that great. You have his expected ERA as well at 4.58. So just not really great overall for Blake Snell, especially when you look at the peripheral numbers. So yeah, not looking great for him. And there's a lot going on with Blake Snell and his slow start for the Giants. And I think one of the big reasons is that people are seeing now is spring training. Now, if you're watching on stream currently, or if you're not, I'll explain it to you. I currently have a picture of Snell and Montgomery up on the screen. And I may be thinking, okay, well, I'm talking about Blake Snell here. Why in the world would Jordan Montgomery also be up here? We can talk about him. Well, we're going to tie this in. I want to just talk about how important spring training is. And I think that's one of the big reasons why Snell is doing as poorly as he is. Snell has talked about it in his interviews, his post-game, as has Montgomery, both players who were very highly sought after on the free agent market, ended up signing deals almost when the season started, so really didn't get a spring training. I shouldn't say really didn't. They didn't get spring training, simply put. And now you're looking at them. I mean, Montgomery's been not great for the Diamondbacks, hasn't been a disaster like Snell has, but he has an ERA almost 5. Snell, of course, has been an absolute disaster for the Giants. Just got injured again, re-injured his groin that let him out for over 20 games. So I think when you're a player who doesn't have a real spring training, who doesn't have that start of the season where you can just get back to facing action, get back to getting your body right, I think a lot of it is really going to mess you up for the season. In spring training, you get to do everything you do in a season, but there's less pressure. There's no pressure at all, I should say, actually. You get to be able to remember to face players, but not have to try so hard and try to, and put your body at risk like you're doing every day when you play. Spring training is a way to calibrate your body, calibrate yourself, get into season mode. And when you kind of just go in raw with none of that, and just jump into the season with no preparation, no training, and say, okay, time to go from spring training, time to go from the off season where you're facing no competition except maybe some of your friends and some people who aren't major league caliber, to facing some of the best hitters in the world straight away. I mean, you're in the NL West. You're gonna play the Dodgers a couple of times. You just played the Yankees with Judge and Soto. The Dodgers have Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. That's not a real recipe for success, and I think with these two, they're going to be an example of in the future of how important spring training is and how people are not going to take advantage of it. Our people are not going to take it for granted ever again. And it's also going to be interesting to see if players who are still lurking on the free agent market when spring training is about to start, if they say screw it and just sign a contract to get to spring training because they're worried about what's going to happen if they don't go to spring training. It's going to be interesting to see if that is the thing now, and we see less players go linger on the free agent market, even though when spring training starts. Now, it seems like it has not affected hitters as much. I mean, JD Martinez has looked really nice for the Mets, has a few big hits in the last few games, but I think pitchers just overall, you have to take more care of your body. You're so much moving pieces to being a pitcher, so many moving parts, and I think we're seeing that now with how underwhelming both of these players have performed. Again, mainly Snell, because he has been much worse, and he did just get injured over the weekend, so I did want to mostly talk about him. But overall, I just wanted to connect to spring training and just overall how important it is, and we're finally seeing how important it is, so I'm very glad. And yeah, just not great overall for Snell, and unfortunate for him that he did end up winning a Cy Young, and he is having these real rough times around it right now. So now the impact on the Giants of Snell performing this poorly, I mean, they're fairly high, but I also don't think they're as high as maybe some other teams. The thing about the Giants is I really love their pitching, and I think most Giants fans love their pitching. You, of course, already have Logan Webb, who's healthy and doing great. I mean, Logan Webb's one of the true aces in this league. Really no ifs and or buts about it. He is an incredible player and a true ace in this league for the San Francisco Giants. After that, you have Kyle Harrison, a really nice young pitcher who's a top prospect for a good amount of years, finally coming up and playing really, really well. And that's another great pitcher you have there. Jordan Hicks, who the Giants had an incredible signing of this offseason, making him a fireballing reliever to a very good starting pitcher, which was a great experiment by them that has really worked out. So, hey, good for them. So that's another piece of this rotation. You also have other good depth pieces like a Keaton Winn and a Tristan Beck, who I think are very solid. You also have coming back Alex Cobb. Cobb, who I think is one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball, has been very, very solid since leaving Baltimore and signing that San Francisco contract, as being the epitome of just consistent for San Francisco. He's coming back in the second half. You have Robbie Ray coming back to the Giants as well, a guy they traded for in the offseason from Seattle that they did expect to be out for the first half. He's coming back as well, and he's going to end up being a really big piece for this team. I'm not sure how good he is going to be. I mean, there is a reason the Mariners traded him after signing him such a big contract. He didn't really perform great for them after winning that Cy Young with Toronto, but at the same time, I still think the Giants know what they're doing, and overall, that he should be a big piece for them, and I'm excited to see what he does end up doing there. So as much as you like Snell to be able to be healthy and be the Blake Snell that you signed, you have enough depth for pitching that you can let it go at least a little bit for now. I'm not sure what's going to happen when you get more into the year, and if he keeps struggling, what's going to happen there, because you're on the hook for 2 more years after that. I'm sure he's going to opt into next year with his performance right now, unless something crazy happens. So you have him. But imagine if he was healthy, and imagine if he was the Blake Snell we know. Imagine, let's say, that Blake Snell gets a full spring training, because in his eyes, that's mainly what is wrong, that he didn't get enough time to kind of cook over the offseason, kind of get seasoned for the season, no pun intended, and kind of got his regular training in the way. Imagine that, and imagine you had Blake Snell, you had Logan Webb at the top of that rotation, an elite ace tandem. You then had Kyle Harrison playing the way he is. That's 3 great starting pitchers. You had Jordan Hicks playing the way he is. That's 4. Alex Cobb coming back. That's 5. And then you have Robbie Ray coming back. That's 6. That's 6 really good starting pitchers there. Really good. Then you have Keaton Winn in there as well, who a lot of people like. I think also I like him a lot. He has really good off-speed pitches. Was rated last year, I think, as the best off-season pitch by some advanced metric people. So that's another great pitcher, I think. Tristan Beck is solid. So that's 7 or 8 people that you feel confident with in making a start for this Giants team. So that's a really big advantage for you guys right now, and that's a really big part of this team. Your offense isn't great. I think the Jung Hoo Lee injury really hurt you, and Jorge Soler not playing well is also really hurting. But the pitching on this team is absolutely fantastic, and I think if Snell was healthy and he was playing up to the Cy Young Snell that we saw in San Diego last year and in Tampa a few years back, I think you could live with the ups and downs of this hitting core for the Giants because you would have such great pitching, and then you would maybe try to trade for a big bat to help this team out. So it is interesting to think about how different it could have been for Blake Snell and the Giants, but unfortunate that the season is going like this. Still a really great player. I still have hopes for Snell that he is going to end up being a really good player for them. I still think he's going to be a good signing, and hey, Giants get another year of him next year. He gets a full season of spring training with them, of course, assuming he doesn't get injured. So that'll be interesting to see next year if he ends up coming back to the form that we all know about him, and that he was actually right, and that we were right that spring training does matter a lot and is the main reason why not only him but also Montgomery are struggling as well, because just going into the season raw, really no real type of practicing before the year with spring training. Minor league I don't think is really the same. I think just that the spring training, that atmosphere and everything you do there really gets you prepared for the season, and it is really unfortunate that we're not able to have one because of the contract situation. And it is going to be interesting, like I said before, see if that does end up impacting other people this offseason, be able to have a motivation assigned before spring training starts. So that is it for our first segment here, talking about Blake Snell and his start for the San Francisco Giants this year, and just overall how he's been. We're moving on to our second segment, which is going to be talking about Juan Soto and his amazing season for the New York Yankees this year. I mean, he's done absolutely incredible so far. And, yeah, we'll be talking about that. So we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.